What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 20 of the Fielder's Choice podcast. My name is Dan Field. All the way to the left, we got Matt Giblin. In the middle, we got Mrs. Angie Santamaro. What is up, guys? Episode 20.
What's
I
up?
feel like we
I
need
know
a cake.
episode 20.
20.
This is
Let's
kind of
go.
crazy.
We need a cake.
Seriously. We
20
need a cake. We need
episodes.
cupcakes.
Ooh,
Do you
It's
ever
a
see that episode of
celebration.
The Office? You ever see the episode of The Office when it's Michael's anniversary and they're talking about getting a big cake with like you open it up and then there's another cake and they get all the way down to the bottom and she's like, "What's in that cake?" Well, a stripper like a stripper holding a cupcake. Like,
I was actually never a big Office person. I know.
I'm
I know.
obsessed.
I know.
It's kind of like my Prozac. Like
Well,
It's
how about
one of
this?
the
If you
better
watch
shows
Breaking
out
Bad,
there.
I'll watch episodes of The Office.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's that important to me.
it's so good. You're so missing
I
out.
just, no, I invest so much when I get into shows though, and I don't have the bandwidth to have an emotional attachment to another
Yeah,
show or
yeah,
anything at this point for that matter.
yeah. I think
I
I
tend to
pulled all
watch.
nighters watching that
I tend
show.
to watch a lot of Two and a Half Men. That seems to be
Oh,
always.
really?
Yeah, it's always on
Yeah,
when dinner time rolls around. So
I think you're right. I think it's like Two and a Half Men, Friends, and The Office that I always see. Although Parks and Rec is coming to like that. But baseball, guys, that's why we're all here.
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
got some
baseball.
crazy news.
You do. Let's
Yeah,
Yeah,
hear
you
it.
do.
yesterday was a pretty big day for this guy. First, our 45 plus team. We were in the semifinals, just in the Babel. It's just a one game series in the semifinals, and we went down
Hmm.
6-1 early on, and we came all the way back to win like 14-7 to advance to the finals.
Let's
Yep, that's in
Oh
go.
shit.
the Babel. We'll be playing the Giants. Carlo, a couple of our former guests,
Hmm.
Carlos and Robles.
Chuck Nobles. Yeah.
So
Isaacs.
I think that's a best of three series. We'll be playing them. I'm not sure when that starts yet.
I
And
was just gonna
then
ask.
even bigger
Def-
news. Last night, the Senators were in the third game of a best of three semifinals. It was third year in a row playing the Angels, the Lowell Angels. We beat them back in 2023 in three games. They beat us in two games last year, and then this series went to a game three last night, and Mike Smith, former pro, was pitching up against Brock Riley, last year's Cy Young winner in the BNBL, also
Hmm.
a former pro. And the game was exactly what you'd expect: low scoring, a lot of drama. They went up 2-0. We tied it 2-2, and then what felt like forever. The game just kept going on and on and on and on. Ninth inning, 10th inning, 11th inning.
Oh
And
shit.
we were at the point where we weren't going to be able to play another inning because the lights were about to go out. And thankfully, Mike Smith, who was the hero um, on the night, delivered for us. And you may recognize the guy doing the live stream for us, but here's how it ended. Let's take a look.
Let's see. Okay.
Swung on, blasted to the gap. That
Bomb.
is gonna do it. Here comes
Wow.
a winning run, and the
Oh,
Senators are gonna walk it off.
oh, that was a bomb.
Mike
Crushed.
Smith once again.
Who is that guy?
Absolutely smashed.
What a night from Smitty.
Did you see the ump just chuck those balls?
Yeah, it was
I've been
Rich
here for
Cabral,
12 innings, wasn't
another
it? Yeah,
former
but she's
guest
like,
of ours.
it's like I've been here for 12
the
innings, taking
finals.
balls and going home.
Yeah, so it was a pretty epic
Wow.
night. So yeah, Senators finals, first time since 2015, I think, and we're going to be playing the Boston Expos, who were trailing 4-3 in the seventh, two outs, 3-2. I think they were down to their last strike, and Jose Taladano had a huge hit, and they ended up winning 6-4. So 2 crazy games last
That
night.
was so, yeah.
But the finals is set for Tuesday night, game 1 at World Series Park in Saugus. 3 seed versus the 7th seed. Expos. We were the 3 seed. And we had a lot of people there last night. A lot of former Senators, alumni. It was a pretty special night. We were there till 2 a.m. Gib, you stayed for a little bit. We got pizza, drank beers, Trum. Yeah, I think I left at 2:00.
Oh my, yeah, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
What?
It was a great game. 12 innings, like both sides. Like I didn't know when it was going, if it was going to end. Hey, thanks for letting me do the play-by-play.
Oh,
I had so
thank
much
you.
fun watching you guys. It was, man, both squads, like that Lowell Angels bunch, man. What?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Brock Riley was absolute stud.
Yeah.
Pitched all 12 innings.
All
He's a
12
beast.
innings.
He's a beast on the mound.
Struck out like 8 guys himself.
Wow.
Man, Smitty, man.
Yeah.
He was a
What a
beast.
game.
He went 5 for 6, 2 doubles, game-winning RBI, pitched 7 innings, struck out only 14.
Yeah. Glad he's on my
Unreal.
team.
Wow.
Glad he's on my
That
team.
is like an unreal stat. Like that game stat list. That's
against
unreal.
the defending champs.
Yeah.
Right.
In a deciding game
Yep.
3. No big deal.
Yeah.
But,
It was-
I mean, it came down to who was going to crack first. And,
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
you guys did early, but you were able to kind of take advantage of some miscues they had later on. But
Yep.
Mhm.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 8 innings of just shutout ball.
Yep.
Some
And
great defense.
Steve Fleury was
Wild.
impressive in relief. I think he had 4 or 5 shutdown innings in relief.
Yep.
The instant classic. It was nuts.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Also, though, D, a quick shout out to the MIAA for winning
Yep.
the 18 plus crown this
right.
past weekend.
Yep. That's right. Tyler
Yeah,
Ferdinand. Yep. 3-0 back to back, repeating as champions, MIAAs. So congrats to them. And the awards should be coming out for the BMBL soon. I got to finish.
A little
working on that.
disappointed, we weren't able to kind of get there to kind of broadcast one of those games, but the series just went too quick.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it just, we don't have enough hands, man. But you guys deserve all the recognition and credit. You guys have built a great team and a good bunch of guys there on that MIAA's bunch. And what did you say about our boy, our old teammate Mike Nell picking up what number title now?
Number 9. Yeah, his ninth title. He's almost going to run out of fingers for all those rings he's
It's
got.
awesome.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Congrats.
have to recreate Michael Jordan's, right? Isn't it Jordan's photo
Oh yeah.
with all the rings?
Yeah. I think Brady had one too, didn't he?
Brady, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Brady has one too.
But big congrats to all those teams, man. You've put up some great games.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of drama, excitement.
At a men's game, drama? No.
I mean, that was
Stop it. A lot more fun at those games. For a minute, but
yeah, because I don't have the usual setup, which is plugged directly into my. But anyway, episode 20. Yeah, we're special guest this week is Curtis Dugar. He was the umpire of the year in the Futures League 2025. Umpires college baseball for over 20 years. Very great umpire, and we're going to learn all about him. You ready to bring him in?
let's do it.
Let's do it. How we doing, sir? Welcome to the
Hey
show.
Curtis, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for the
Here you
invite.
go. Absolutely.
How are you
How's
tonight?
everybody doing?
I'm
It is
living
a
the dream.
Monday.
This guy,
It's a Monday
yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
And happy 20th.
We've learned a ton from a lot of different guys, So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
For
we're
sure.
happy to have you along.
Yes,
I'm
we
excited
are.
to be here. Yeah, thanks for the invite. Yeah, and congrats on making it to the finals. That's amazing.
Yeah, so if you know me, it took me a long time to get my first championship and it wasn't even in the league that I've been playing in for a long time. It was actually a different league, and but this time it's finally in the BNBL. So for two of my teams to go to the championship is pretty crazy. I'm afraid to leave my apartment. I feel like I'm gonna I don't know. With all the good luck happening.
Don't walk under a ladder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do it, guys.
Let's do it. So, how did you first? Well, if you could introduce yourself and tell us how you got into umpiring and your story and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. Curtis Dugar. I'm a transplant to the Northeast. I just moved up here in February. I was recruited to serve at Bentley University as an associate dean, and I'm loving it. It's great. Very excited to be close to a city again. Only being less major city. My professional life, I've been pretty nomadic, so I've moved around quite a bit, and it's been a blessing. To be able to work in higher ed and do some dynamic work helping students. It's phenomenal. So being able to have access to a major city is great. Clearly, being on the coast, the Northeast culture, all the kind of stuff I'm excited about. Spent a lot of time in very rural spaces. So my last stomping ground was in Pennsylvania. I was at East Stroudsburg University for about 5.5 years. Drexel for 1.5 years. So I was in the Philly area, which was nice. Virginia Tech for 3 years as an associate director. Ohio State for 7 years as an assistant director. So just
bounced everywhere.
Oh yeah. And so, to be here now is just a great experience. Loving the school, loving the vibe in Waltham, but also really enjoying being able to get around the state and to officiate. Every time I've made a move, my license has moved with me. So it's helped me really gain an understanding of where I'm living, understand the culture, definitely figure out where I'm at, because usually I'm lost. So my GPS gets me connected very quickly, but this also helps me feel at home, and I don't have family up in the Northeast, or to be honest, in many of the spaces that I've transitioned to. So my officiating family has always helped me get connected and grounded and all that kind of stuff. So a little bit about me professionally. As far as umpiring, I've been licensed official for about 21 years now. And if you tack on my 3 years in grad school, it'll take it about 24 years. But I've worked high school for 21 years and collegiate baseball. I'm going into my 17th season. So
wow.
It's been a blessing. It's been awesome. I've loved it. It's taught me a lot, but it's also pushed me, not just on the field, but in the ways in which I think about relationships, when I think about being a person of integrity, right? And
solid.
Being someone who can be trusted and, being a good partner, all of those things, I've learned from having this elevated opportunity to be an administrator for sports. So I got started by accident. I went to Denison University for undergrad, and I tried to walk on for baseball for 2 years, but I was cooked. I was done. I was one of those kids just trying to hold on to the things that I loved, and quickly realized that I was done. But I was an intramurals gym rat, so I was always in the gym. And you see it,
Yep.
And, I remember one day a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, you want to officiate intramurals?" And I'm like, "Does it pay?" And he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, I'll do it. I'm like, "Absolutely." Didn't know a thing about it. It was just, way to pass time and make a couple bucks, right? So,
What were you doing? Handball?
nah, I was doing
Squash.
basketball, and I was doing kickball, and then softball. I think
Did you ever do volleyball?
I didn't. No.
I actually liked doing volleyball for some reason.
I probably would have if I had time. I needed to go to class. So
That's one of the big sports a lot of our colleagues too tend to like gravitate towards, because you can do the JV or the varsity games and it pays pretty well, and you're kind of out of there in a lot earlier time than a varsity baseball.
Yeah, once baseball ends, it seems like it's on to volleyball or football.
Yeah. I I don't know what the plan is now, but I think with baseball and then basketball right around the corner, I'm full. I'm good. But back in the day, at college, if I was able to squeeze it into my schedule and not miss classes, then I was going to do it. So and I remember heading up to Buffalo for grad school. So I did my grad work in Buffalo, and I was a graduate assistant at UB for a year, and I'll never forget it. I was working at a grocery store, and I was in the meat market, and I remember seeing this tall African American guy, on a football Saturday walk in. He had his whole uniform on, and it just hit me, and I was like, man, like I think I did that in college, right? So I hopped over I ran up to him, and I know that shocked the shit out of him, right? Sorry if I can't curse, my bad.
Oh,
No, you can. This is a Boston podcast, Curtis. You can swear all you want to.
We prefer it.
Yeah.
He kind of popped back when
he was like, "What?"
I was like, no, my bad. I don't mean to run up on you like that, but I know you popped in one game what I'm about to make here all week. And he started laughing, and I was like, hey, how do I get connected to officiate? He goes, oh, okay. So he gave me a couple numbers and told me to look in the newspaper, because there's associations that I can sign up for, and that's how I got my first first local license in Buffalo. It's the Niagara Frontier Officials Association. I think I still have my license laminated. So I did 3 years while getting my graduate degree. And I did everything from like youth travel, basketball to softball, and the women's sports initiative in Western New York is phenomenal. Like, it's still one of my favorite times of officiating, because those ladies get after it, and the coaching was phenomenal, and you learned quickly how to work. So I started there, and then after grad school, I was like, I got to get back home. I miss Chicago, so I'm from Chicago. So I ended up going back home and getting my first high school license in Chicago. So I was working public league basketball, which is pretty good. Public league and South suburban basketball, and I did that for 3 years while also getting my high school baseball license. So I was able to start really quickly working Catholic League baseball, which was pretty competitive. And then after 3 years, I transitioned to Ohio, and my licenses were reciprocated. So they just moved over to Ohio, which is a beautiful thing. Reciprocity is so.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sometimes forget where you are, having lived in so many places?
No, because usually very different. So, but in reflecting on all of those places, I tend to get caught up on those because it's been all unique experiences. So, Ohio was the one though that I think really pushed me because for 2 years after working high school, my commitment was I wanted to be a varsity umpire. I was like, you know what? Like, I know I'm good. I know I can move. I know I'm faster than a lot of these other cats out here. So I know I can grow though, but put me where I need to be. And for 2 years, I was working grade school stuff. They kind of started me at the beginning, and I was in my feelings for sure. Like I was not feeling it, but I had good mentors around me. And I remember that second summer, so this would have been the summer of '09. I was working a summer tournament right in the Hilliard area, and from one of my mentors / fellow collegiate buddies. And we call him the mad assigner. I mean, that's all he did. He just assigned baseball.
Sounds like.
Yeah, we know him.
Just,
Sure,
spreadsheets and 7 computers. Just
Yeah, we have a guy.
Oh yeah.
we know a guy.
And he's like, hey Curtis, how about you just work for me for the summer? Just come up, like I'll make sure you get some competitive games, and we'll work on some things, because he knew how frustrated I was. I was like, all right, fine. And I remember one game, and this is when I knew like he had my back. I took a foul, but it was like a U11, U12 game or something like that, and the kid fouled a pitch off, and it hit my collarbone. Right, like just boom. And yes. I mean, my gear was hanging low, whatever. I just wasn't like, I didn't know. Right.
It always gets you where your gear isn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm learning moment.
So I'm in the dirt. I'm literally in the dirt, and he comes over and goes, Curtis, get out of here. And I'm like, is he mad at me? Like, is he gonna kick me out after getting hit with a baseball foul ball? So he says, take off. He has me, take off my shirt and my chest protector, and I'm sitting there like with ice, on my collarbone, and he literally like just zips up everything, like zip, zip, zip. I mean, and he goes, now put it back on, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm ready to go back in, and I literally have to squeeze it over my face, and it sat right here
on top, yeah.
And he said, this is how you wear that thing from now on. If I see it lower, like we're fighting. And I was like, oh, okay, all right.
You got lucky.
And that's how, I sure did. Like, luckily I was good, like sore, but I was good.
Sure. Yeah, right.
But to this day, that's how I wear my chest protector. And it's because of him. And little nuggets like that I was like, okay, I'm in the right place here. Like people, it's not just about, how I'm pivoting or how I'm like, taking a pitch or whatever. It's little things to ensure my safety, but then also that I'm able to perform the way I'm supposed to perform. So, so fast forward, he goes, hey Curtis, this is, a couple weeks, months later, he goes, hey, why don't you go down to Ohio State and work they have a scrimmage coming up and they need somebody to go, work the bases. And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. Like, that's like, at the time that was like, way more than what I was aspiring to do. I want to be a varsity umpire. You telling me I can go work on a college field and run around? Perfect. So I shined up the shoes, everything was pressed. And, I'm just flying around doing what I need to do. And I get called into the dugout by somebody I didn't know. And I'm thinking, I'm about to get kicked out of here. I'm the black dude. All right. I must have did. So I hopped into the dugout, and this heavy-set guy sitting there. And at that time, Ohio State just hired its new coach at the time, Greg Beals, who's a phenomenal coach during his tenure. So he's with the players, but my soon-to-be assigner who called me in, I didn't know that at the time. He was like, hey, have you worked college baseball before? And I'm like, no, I just work for, Spice. He's the mad assigner, right? Like Mark Spicer. So he goes, oh, okay. Well, you should sign up. I'm not guaranteeing you anything, but you just need to get into the system. I know Mark told me that you want to be a great high school umpire. I could see that, but get in the system. You never know how it'll work out. And and so I did that, and I was still locked in on baseball, and the goal was for my schedule in February for high school to be locked up. And I remember getting a call from the high school assigner saying, hey, like, we have this great JV schedule for you. And I was like, nah, that's not going to work. And they were shocked that I said that. I said, like, we had this conversation already. Like, I'm working varsity. And he's like, well, we don't have any varsity games for you. And I was like, well, how about you just keep that schedule for someone else? Because what he didn't know was a day prior to him calling me about the high school schedule, I got a call from that collegiate assigner saying, hey, we got you a half season working Division III in the region. So, and of course I said yes. Of course. Yeah. And what I didn't know was, and that was in February, what I didn't know was by the start of the season, that half season turned into about 3/4 of a season, including some non-con Division I stuff. And again, that's when I knew I was in the right place, because I knew I was ready for no Division I non-con, but you're with people who are going to groom you. Right? They're going to let you make your mistakes, and they're going to protect you.
What's that like?
Flashbacks. But yeah, so that's how I started in 2010, my first season.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I worked 6 seasons in Ohio. I worked in the OAC. I worked in the MAC conference. I had my first conference series in the Horizon in 2013, I think. I also went to USA Baseball in 2011, summer of 2011, and then also was invited and participated in in the MLB camp in Compton, California. So 2 weeks apart from each other, I did that, and that's what really set me up for starting to work higher level baseball, working conference level tournaments. Left in 2015 to head down to Virginia. So I left Ohio State, went down to Virginia Tech to work, and I was quickly able to add the ODAC to my conference tab. So some nutcutter baseball, D3, went from the OAC to the ODAC, but then also was able to work in the MIAC Division I, and then.
Were you doing this full time?
No. I work in higher ed, so I was.
So you were working higher ed still back then. Wow, how did you have time to?
Yeah, I was able to use, my my time, so my vacation time, but then also with my work, it's very common where I would have to come back to work in the evenings to do things. So I was able to flex my time, and
make sure you got what you need to get done later, or
right. That's right. I mean,
when you could, right?
Yeah, I mean, and we're dealing with students, so there's stuff that doesn't usually happen until the evenings. So it was very convenient for me to, finish up a ball game and then come back to campus, and be a part of a program or meet with faculty or whatever it is. So, so it was very supportive of the lifestyle for me. So, yeah. So 3 years in the South, and then when I made the move up to Pennsylvania, my schedule literally just shifted up because I was affiliated with an association that generally had pretty much all of the East Coast. So when I said, hey, I'm moving to Pennsylvania, they're like, okay, we'll see you up there. And, I was able to move from the ODAC to now the NJAC and all of the surrounding D3 conferences, but then also my Division I schedule moved north as well. So I was working in the MIAA and the NEC and all of that stuff, worked in the Ivy. And then most recently, this move last year, and then this year, working in the Patriot and now the Atlantic 10. So,
wow. So your game's on TV today. Those on ESPN Plus?
Oh, of course. Yeah, they must be, right? Yeah, a lot of those games.
Yeah.
You're seeing some great schools, George Mason and I don't know, a lot of those other ones.
Yeah. I was at UMass Amherst this year for my A10 series. But then like most of my D1 stuff was Patriot. So I was at Army quite a bit, and and then I think I was at Holy Cross. Yep. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see how this year goes, but very excited, and there's opportunity.
It's like 20-page CV. I don't even know where to start. Like we have questions now. I'm just like, holy crap, that is like legit. I mean, and then you came up here and then we're going to talk about this later, but I can't help but mention now, you come up here in February and you got umpire of the year in the Futures League. I mean, that's incredible, Curtis. Like,
Yeah.
I got the opportunity. I was telling these guys, I got the opportunity to do that to do a scrimmage with you on Saturday, which we don't need to talk about that, but we can talk about, I got to watch you work and I got to watch your skill. And it was so awesome to see what that level looks like. And you really were just so professional and so good behind. Yeah. I mean, look at that photo. That's like,
Yeah, that's
you are
pretty cool.
jacked.
Seriously, that is like straight up, like, I don't know, what's the opposite of like Sports Illustrated, like the swimsuit edition? That's awesome.
I mean,
You know
look
what I
like an
mean?
umpire there.
Yes.
Yeah, I sent that to everybody I knew too. I was like, whoever took that shot.
That would have been on my Christmas card. People would have been getting mugs with my like face on it. Yeah. But it's so legit. I know, right? And you better face it out too, because that's what people need to say.
No question.
And by the way, Ange, we're not letting you off the hook. We're gonna find out exactly how you did.
Oh, it was awful, terrible. But I had to walk away I had, Curtis, I'm not gonna lie, I had a good cry on the way home. But like I really had to take away from that I went from doing JV games to that, right? And doing a job.
Curtis? Or is she exaggerating?
So hold on. So let me tell the boys what I said, Curtis, and you can tell me if I was honest. I was like first through fourth inning, like I was okay. I wasn't great, but Curtis was telling me where to go and where to move. And then like fourth through seventh, half of beginning of eighth, maybe I made one shitty call. I lost my confidence and I was in my head and it was just bad. It was one bad call after another because I was just behind the eight ball. And then like eighth and ninth, Curtis literally said to me, if you do that again, I'm going to tell you to go home. And I was like, fuck, okay. And I kind of like smacked myself in the face and I feel like I finished okay, but it was bad. It was
So for the viewers
bad.
at home, Angie was invited to do a college game, a scrimmage, Northeastern, right?
Yeah, shout out to
It was.
He was so hospitable and he was great.
The whole team, I mean, it was fantastic. Both like the players were great. They were all very kind to me, but I didn't deserve it.
Well, let's talk about that. Well, first shout out for you for showing up because I think what we've talked about, and I think we need to talk about more is, the only way that we get a chance to build this group of this brotherhood up, and I say that collectively, clearly is, like we got to put.
I'm one of the guys. It's okay. I get told that all the time. It's totally fine. No. They're just like, you're one of the guys. I'm like, I know.
You using inclusive language here.
Totally.
Like I think, we have to create experiences where people can fail. You heard Mike when we walked out there. I said, hey, I hope you don't mind. I brought a mentee with me and I'm excited for them to, learn on this field. He goes, I don't give a shit. Let's go. Like he came, and I know, it's the fall. Most coaches would love to see a collection of umpires getting after it with their kids. They want their players to learn and see learning happening at the same time, so, yes, they want to get their work in. Absolutely. But like, if they can see starting to make sense of what they do, that's it for them in the program that they're trying to build. So again, shout out to Mike for giving us that space. But
100%.
The beauty of what happened on Friday was you were given an opportunity to fail, many of our officials, particularly our young officials, like they're not being put in a position where they can fail. They're being put in a position where they can be stagnant, and that's not helping us. So, so I'm glad that you saw the speed in which the game actually functions, because in my opinion, now you know the speed that you should be working versus what you currently work, right? Which means that now when you think about your mechanics, or when you think about, the rule interpretation, like all those things should be in alignment with the speed of it. You didn't make bad calls. You needed to make calls, right? Like, and confidence piece, right? Like that's what Mike summed up at the end. He goes, like,
That's what I said to her.
yeah, just make a call. We're gonna yell at you regardless. Like
Right.
they're gonna come out regardless. But I think, having the confidence to make your call and make sure everyone knows, like, yeah, I stand by my call. Like that level up, and we got to create more spaces for that. So kudos for you out there, because everybody knew that you were learning, and they were going to work through it. So, but
they were all great, but I just knew. Yeah,
you showed up. They knew, but you showed up, and I think that's the culture that we have to build. And Lord knows, majority of the coaches out here in this area, they would love to see us on their fields when they're doing this type of work. So.
That's what I said to her too, Curtis. It was a scrimmage. It's the exact perfect time for you to screw up. It also gives the players, the coaches, the opportunity to then take those learning situations and benefit their team. Sometimes calls aren't going to go your way. How are you going to handle it? I was like, Ange, great for you. Like, you're being too hard on yourself. I gave her all the kudos in the world.
Yeah.
I was proud of her.
Now,
was it a 2-man or 3-man?
It was 2-man
normally it would be 3.
If it was in the spring, my assumption is those would be 3-man games. Yes.
And that's a whole different
and
itself.
I'm not sure, because I think Northeastern's in the CAA, so they potentially may be a 4-man system.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
Curtis,
it was wild.
I have to give you kudos though, and because you did.
I appreciate it, but
you did have 3 pickoff punch outs, so that was kind of
I got there.
Like, you're just ringing everybody up. That's great.
There was 3 pickoffs
at first base, yeah, and they were. So your timing on those calls were great. Now it's just you working on your punch out, and you'll part. So, but no, great job showing up, and I'm glad you took advantage of the opportunity.
I like I said, I really appreciate it. And to your point, I learned so much from my mistakes. That was invaluable, right? So I kind of, obviously, like I think all of us, right? We, even as players, you replay your game, you replay your errors. As umpires, we replay our games and our mistakes, and not our wins enough, but we do. And I think I have been thinking about them over and over, and then thinking, had I not have made all of those mistakes, I wouldn't have learned anything. I would have just been like, no, I'm awesome. I could do D1. Fuck that, But I really left being like, holy shit, like my angles, knowing where to step. I mean, even, so guys, every half inning we met at the 45, and Curtis was just telling me, here's where you need to be. This is where you need to stand. This is what professional looks like. And just making some minor adjustments was, oh my God, this makes so much sense. So it's like, I almost started to feel more confident. And then all of a sudden the rug just got pulled out from under me, and I wasn't expecting it. And I was just like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, because the speed is nothing. It's dynamic. Those kids are so fast. And I was trying to explain it to these guys. And like I said, too, even like if a 28s game, this is nothing like it. I mean, these kids are like, I don't know if they snort Ritalin in the dugout, but like, Jesus,
No,
I was
young.
like,
they're 18 years old.
They are. I don't remember what that's like, okay? So I'm just watching them, and they're so good. Oh God, I can't. But also their skill. Yeah. Their skill was so good offensively and defensively. So yes, they could have stolen, and yes, they could have picked them up, and yes, they could have been safe. Like it literally was like I want to say a pube hair, but I really feel like that's not the right thing to say. But you know what I mean? It was just, I don't know what else to say, but it was just like a piece of string that could have made the difference. And I wanted to be right. I wanted to be right so bad. And that's where I was getting stuck. But I think the feedback I get a lot, and Curtis, you said it, right? And Mike, right? Mike was the coach. You make the call. It doesn't matter. Somebody's going to be mad. Somebody's going to be, it doesn't matter. They're going to bitch no matter what. Just make the fucking call.
Right.
And I think that, and like I said to you, being a perfectionist, this is not the field because you just, you're like, ah. So I have a lot to work on. I can't wait for my next game so I can really just start to put it into action and just get that oomph. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah. No. Kudos. It
yeah.
was
Thank you.
absolutely anytime.
So Chris, so when you are evaluating now, the training you just went to at Tufts, were you one of the instructors, or
Hmm.
and that's where
Yes.
you guys met, right?
Yep.
So,
Great training.
when you're evaluating, what I guess, what are you specifically looking for, like to start out? You know, you're starting with the very basics.
What am I looking for? Well, I think I begin with looking for
I mean, obviously,
attention.
appearance, we've been told many times, is obviously important.
Yeah. I think I like to start, and saw this a little bit. I think I like to start. When I'm in a small group or talking with individuals, like my best camps have been with individuals who talk philosophically about the why. Not just going into, oh well, we do this and this is where you need to step, and no, like there needs to be purpose behind every step that you make, every movement that you make. When you start off officiating, and it's no knock to anyone who has trained before or whatever video you may have watched, and they taught what they knew, right? But that's why it's so important to get to camps these days, because there's so much knowledge with these individuals who work at high levels, right? And I think some of the foundations that I have picked up on, they've been cemented because of the philosophical piece to the approach behind our mechanics, right? So I looked at participants, campers who were paying attention, who were thinking about, you can see their wheels spinning about what they do as they're listening to the philosophical pieces to this. So the why behind the why behind the way we move, why we move, understanding, that, us umpiring is a product of timing, right? And not just behind the plate, but in all areas in which we have to move and our responsibilities, so I look for folks who are truly listening to clinicians explain the why, who ask good questions. I never get mad at folks who ask questions, because I think being inquisitive is a part of what we do. It's a natural instinct of umpiring, right? We gotta ask the questions that literally lead us to the answers that we're looking for. So and the individuals who want the extra, they want the extra rep, they want the extra opportunity to try to understand what it is we're trying to articulate or implement, right? Those that kind of move on quick, I try not to judge, but my thought is they probably still are not going to get what we're trying to articulate, right? We're trying to say a lot in 4 hours, so it's always hard anyway. But for those individuals who are truly interested in taking the knowledge that's being given, that's what stands out to me. So that's what I look for at camps, and when I'm a camper, that's how I'm working. Like I'm like, all right, let me take in all the information I need, and then I can discard things later, like things that don't work for me, or I can start, like in that moment. I'm going to be present. I'm going to be engaged. I'm going to try to make sense of the why behind whatever mechanic change or rule change that might be applied, or advanced mechanic, whatever it is. But I'm going to be present, and then once everything's done, I can go ahead and say, "Yep, I like that. Like that. That makes sense. I'm not going to do that. Like I can do all that later." So.
Very cool.
Curtis, I personally think that what you're getting at is that kind of boils down to that passion and motivation you have to keep learning and keep trying to get better and what you're going to put into it.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, we talked about, you should have goals. You should have aspirations. I'm hoping that folks don't want to officiate and just kind of have a blank slate and just are hopeful that, they'll be in contests that are fun or whatever. Like, no, like, where do you want to be and who do you need to be around so that way you can start to see that path start to come to fruition, and once those things start happening, then you start to identify what groups you need to be in, and then also like what do you need to learn? What are the opportunities that you may need to take advantage of, so that way you're prepared for the next movement. So absolutely.
And do you think, like, because I'm listening to you talk, and there is this kind of pedagogical, there's this pedagogy to the way that you're speaking, but it sounds like the fact that you're in higher ed has really kind of married with umpiring in a way that's like kind of really made this like pretty cool baby, right? Like this, you know what I mean? Like you really have this great philosophical understanding of how you need to move up and the game, but also this idea that learning is never complete. Right.
No.
We're always kind of striving for the next thing. And really, in the clinic, and then when we were at Northeastern, that was maybe said and not being said in the way that you spoke about kind of the game and what you were still working on and why you were there. And, I heard you thank the coach and say that you were working on some of your skills, which I'm like, dude, you're perfect. What are you talking about? But having talked to you though, right. And knowing what it's like to be an umpire.
Yeah.
On the baseball field. But you know what I mean? That it sounds like the fact that you're also an educator really helps you both as an instructor and a student.
Yeah. I believe this has been a really cool partnering. My interest in learning, continues. I think I may have shared that, I'm actually writing my dissertation right now.
Kudos.
Yeah.
I got a second master's instead. I was like, I'll get the other master's. I can't go for the PhD.
Smart move.
I know.
I love learning.
Me too, same.
And I love being challenged. And the cool part about this for me is, when I go to camp, I'm being challenged by some smart people. Like, they are very knowledgeable of not just the field of officiating, but they've been able to apply what they've trained for, whether it's in the minors or some even had some major stints, but then also have been able to apply it to now how their livelihoods, right? So for me, being an educator, working with professionals and tons of students, where I have to work on communication skills. I have to work on conflict management. Oh my goodness. Management, calming parents down left and right, all of these things. It's just, it's great to be able to practice those things in this avocation, and because of the tenure piece, like, I feel like I've gotten really good at being able to use my personality in a very relational manner to engage and support, performance on the field, from a coaching standpoint as well as from a player standpoint. And then, also from a fan engagement standpoint, which, at the collegiate level, I don't really deal with that too much because, but, when we're doing our summer stuff, like, that experience come into play as well. So yeah, like I'm very happy with the fact that my avocation pairs up very nicely with my professional experience. And the other thing I talk about a lot, and I think I may have shared, I told you this on Saturday, and just like, you don't get a lot of opportunities to, after working 8 hours to go out and run around and yell and all kinds of stuff. So, there's no reason to have, the softest safe out call. No, like everybody in the park needs to hear you yell what you got, and
Like
just
you're
to
yelling
have
at your kids.
absolutely get it out. So that way you don't be yelling at your kids when you get home, right? Take advantage of that opportunity. And I think, this is giving me a chance to have that type of outlet, and something that's going to challenge me mentally, to push me to think about, the next level of performance that I should be aspiring for, all those things. Like it's been great. And also too, remembering that, I grew up in a high school chapter, and whether it was local in Buffalo or, in my local chapters in Chicago, Columbus, even in Christiansburg, Roanoke for that matter. So like my commitment has always been, even though I may not have worked a lot of high school games during those times, I'm still a product of that chapter. So how can I serve? How can I make sure that I'm talking and supporting the growth of officials in the ways that matter, Yeah.
So your dissertation that you talked about, it's on the recruitment and retention of sports officials. Is that due to
Yeah,
the shortage that's going on?
absolutely. Absolutely. It's a national shortage, and the numbers are actually showing that the literature talks about how it's also an international issue as well. So,
Wow.
my focus was and will be as of right now, the looking through the lens of PIAA, so Pennsylvania Interscholastic Sports Athletics is. And particularly in the district that I served, which was District 11, looking at the issue of retention and recruitment through the lens of training. And, in connection with, assigners and officials, trying to identify like what are the issues that are really driving attrition. So, there's a number of issues that I think are impacting people choosing not to officiate. The literature outlines like 7 areas, but for the sake of me getting this thing done, I'm only and I think training and development is really important. To be honest, I think the lack of training and development, really impacts confidence, and then also, when you don't have that high level of training and development matched with experience, you're held back. So you don't get opportunities like everyone else. So, I'm excited to, survey officials, but then also interview assigners and say, hey, what do you think about this? What are you looking for when it comes to ideal officials that you want to work, high level contests, really asking, important questions to see where there might be some overlap and definitely identify the gaps. Hoping that will help the conversations that need to happen to take place, because I think we are needing more experiences, but it needs to be very intentional developmental spaces where we can groom talent and not, welcome them in, and then 2-3 years later, folks are saying, I'm going to do something else because, I feel like I'm wasting my time here. I could be doing something else that, gives me joy, So
Is it really that much later? Because I feel like I think you are hitting the nail on the head with like the lack of training or maybe not lack of, but it's not thorough. You know what I mean?
We've talked about
I
that
think,
a lot.
yeah, Dan, what did we have? Like we had one day of field training. It was what, 3 hours, 4 hours, and then we took the test, and like that was it.
Yeah.
And my first like 4 or 5 games, I was like, what the hell am I doing? This is terrible. I don't know what I'm doing. Everybody's yelling at me. I want out of
But
here.
you're also
And
solo, so you have no one
well,
to lean
you're
on.
also solo, right? So there's that too. But
yeah.
so it was almost like that whole first year was actually the training. And
Yeah.
if you don't stick it out that first full year, really, which is just school, right? If we're talking about like you got your degree at the end of that season,
Right.
and this is like I feel like my first official season, honestly, because
Wow.
I almost quit last year, like so many times. I was like, I'm getting yelled at. I hate this.
Yeah.
And, I have a job where I make good money and people fucking love me. But here I am on the weekends hauling my ass to like a little league game to get bitched out by like Sammy's daddy because he thinks he's going to the MLB and he's calling, the calls from right. And I'm like, motherfucker, what? I'm doing this for what? Like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and that support and that mentorship, right? I think, I've talked to you. I mean, Carl has kind of been one of my mentors throughout, but like after every game, I would call Carl and
Mm-hmm.
have just conversations. And I almost feel like it's like you need a mentor as soon as you come out. Like, all right, here's your card. Here's Curtis's number. He's going to be your big brother.
Yeah.
And you go because, and you offered on Saturday, like, hey, if you ever have a game and I'm available, I'll come watch you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, holy crap, like, thank you so much. But also, yes, why aren't we doing that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, why aren't we evaluating or being evaluated by other people more
Yeah.
often?
Yeah.
Because there's a shortage of umpires.
Yeah. 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 Everyone has lives and stuff, but like, I think that the thing that, I think is important is, and I talk about this a little bit in the research, like, officiating in the 70s or in 80s, like that was like the heyday, right? Like, it was about relationships, like it was like, folks officiated with their best friends, like it was, they would work a game and they probably didn't even care about how bad they were, but like they were ready to fight whoever was talking smack. It was a
We know
beautiful,
those guys.
I love hearing those stories. Like, and these guys are now in their 50, like 60s and 70s now, right? Like, I mean,
There
like
are the assigners now.
yeah. Um, like they're done now. But like, to hear them tell stories about like, their relationships with the coaches and the players, and like the quality of like it's a beautiful thing, and I there are times when I'm like, man, I would have loved to have worked a game with you, like that's some cool shit, to be honest, and I think about that now, and I'm like, like even if I can go and if you had a U11, U12 game, whatever it was, right? Like I'd go to that game. I'd work it, right? Because like to me, it's not about the money, right? Like now, please understand, like I appreciate the hustle, right? We need to get the coin, but like I think it's about it's about the moment to officiate with another person who cares about the opportunity to partner with somebody who cares, right? Like and work on your craft, like because that's when that individual is going to be like, okay, like I now know what's next, what would I need to do next, right? And I don't know if you remember the young kid, not the mouthy kid, the short dude, not him.
Oh, no, not that.
The tall, skinny kid. I don't know if you were next to me.
I do. Yes.
And he was like, hey, do you remember me? And I was like, yeah, I do. He goes, yeah, I'm going to camp. He's going to MLB camp. And I was like, that's great. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I worked with him for like, I think one game, and he was green, very green, right? Like, but I mean, he listened, and he was excited, I'm going to look up those camps, and now he's going to go to pro school. And he's so
amazing.
He's so green that he's perfect for pro school. Like he should be at pro school because he has no flaws yet, right? But those are the things that we should be doing. Like, me going to 11U game, absolutely. I'll work the bases for you, absolutely. So that way you can kind of see how I work the bases, and then we flip it, right? Like that's easy money, right? Like we're getting paid, and this is something I talk about a lot too. Is the summer is perfect. It's like an internship for us. Like we should be using summer work. We're getting paid to work on our craft. If we're in the summer, just eating up games but not working on our skills, what's the point? Because when spring comes around and you only had a chance to see pitches twice, but you haven't gotten outside to run around, like you're going to be behind the 8 ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be like, what did you do all winter in fall, right? Like, so we got to take advantage of those experiences and make the most out of them, you know. So, so I think, you know, for me that scholarly work is really tied to things that, you know, I've seen, and I'm excited for us to really dive into, particularly through the lens of training and development. We have to become much more intentional about the time and the spaces we create for our officials. Otherwise, they're going to lose the passion for it.
Yeah. Well said.
So we have a question from one of our viewers. So how long do you wait before ejecting a player or a coach? I assume every ump has a different style for that. I'm curious about your process for that, and what advice do you have for other young umpires on that topic?
Wait, bring up the counter. Dan, you got to bring up the counter for this.
Yes.
Hold on, Curtis.
Yeah, that was one of the. So we have an
There we go. Okay,
ejection
now go ahead.
counter here.
Man, who
Hasn't
did
had much
that?
movement.
No,
So, so I will say, when I was a younger official, my ejectometer was quick. Like I wasn't, you know, I didn't really take much mess. So it would be real quick to say be gone. But I think now, and again, this comes from training. This comes from listening to the really good officials talk about, you know, the process. And what I like to talk about now in the process is, like, we need to be thinking about the report that we will eventually have to write if we eject someone, right? And as whatever interaction is happening, we should be taking a mental note of that step, because as you write that report, okay, so, you know,
Where are you fitting in that equation?
exactly. So, you know, step one, you know, person yells, you know, blah 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 blah, and I take a look at them. Like, I'm right. Like, that's one, you know, and then two, you know, they keep going, so I give them another glance, right? That's going into the report. Number three, they say something else, I'm going to go give them the hand. Hey, I've had enough, right? Like, let's end this now before you know, subject yourself high school level to being restricted to the bench or whatever it is. But that's number three on the list, right? Or they want to keep going. Okay, now you're restricted, right? Like, say something else, now you're going to risk being ejected from the game. That's four. If they want the special five, then they got it. Boom, they eject it. But the report is going to already say, hey, I gave him 2 looks, and he knew what I was already trying to let him know, right? By 3, he kind of revved it up. No one's going to challenge that report because it's already outlining everything that in sequence addressing behavior. And by rule, I've restricted them, and then after that, they went. In college, it's going to be a little bit shorter, but it's going to be just like that. Like, you know, I'm going to look, I'm going to give them their official warning. Hey, it's your official warning, balls and strikes or sportsmanship, whatever it is. And then if they need to go, they go. So,
and chances are that someone had it on film anyway, because
oh yeah,
things have film these days. So
there's cameras everywhere. And believe it or not, you know, like, even, you know, yes, collegiate, there's going to be, you know, a ton of cameras, but like, even in high school now, with everybody with their camera phone, and somebody got it on film. So, you know, even mechanically, it's important for us to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do by the book. So that way, when someone says, oh no, Curtis did exactly what he just said, because we got the film, and he, I think you need to stop talking now, and then, hey, here's your restriction. It's right there. So being good at, you know, managing your emotion in the heat of the battle, but at the same time, not taking any mess. Coach got to go. They got to go. But just make sure that it's with the process.
What about this?
What's your ejection counter at? Sorry, Gil. Any idea?
Roughly? You mean like total ejections ever?
Yeah.
Ooh. It's
I've been doing this 20 years. Come on.
Maybe 10.
10.
Yeah, maybe 10. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, what about those quick situations? You know, drawing a bat in the you know,
Oh yeah,
the
drawing a
box or
line.
something. Yeah, I mean, I get swearing and stuff like that, or saying, "Hey, you're the worst ump I've ever seen." Blah blah blah. Yeah, right. I get that too. But
I haven't had any line drawings. Like,
yeah,
I'm one of those lucky ones. I have had, special individuals like to tell me that something wasn't nice or wasn't a good pitch or whatever it was. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, summer I had one where, um, he didn't like the strike sequence, and I let him know, like, no, those are all strikes, and he told me it
Mm-hmm.
was effing horrible.
Yeah.
And he said the match word, so he's done. So, and then the coach wanted to say his piece, and I said, well, are you now endorsing his behavior? Because now you're arguing balls and strikes too.
Well,
So,
that's a good comeback.
and he quickly shut up. So, he wasn't happy, but it is what it was.
I
So,
had a kid once, a JV kid. He was kind of being a little shit through the game, but I actually kind of liked him because he was being a little shit. Like those are like my favorite. I'm a school psychologist. Those are my favorite kids, right? Like I like you. I fuck with you. And he
yeah,
drew a line in the dirt, and I looked at him and I said, "All right, that's where the zone is now. Cool. All right, just so you are cool. Like, all right, let's go." And he would looked at me, and I was like, You drew it. You got it. Let's go."
yeah.
And then I strike. And then he just you drew the box, buddy. Didn't do that again.
Yeah.
But he was, yeah, but I guess if it was a higher level, obviously I think I would have had to go more strict. But when they're, JV 11U, 12U, I'm like, whatever.
We got to
Oh,
build
yeah.
up the ejection counter, Ange. Let's go.
I know. You know what? There's one, and I should have ejected. It was a coach, and I should have, and I didn't, and I should have, and I'm whatever.
So 4.5.
More,
Yeah, I thought about it. Yeah.
more than the ejection, I think it's, this summer, I remember helping out. I think it was like a U11, U12 tournament, and it was a good 45 minutes away from Waltham. But it was fun to work because, again, I was working with a newer official, and he was, I think, newly retired. And he just loved to get out there, and I think he uses the bubble and everything. I mean, it was just like it was great. And I was gonna steal his shine, so I was like, "Hey, you do you." But it was very clear that he wasn't trained, and
Hmm.
and his strike zone was a little erratic. It was fine, but the coaching staff wanted to try to give him a little shit after whatever the sequence was, and so I came down and I just listened, and they were trying to get riled up and stuff. And then finally, because I knew he didn't know how to manage it, right?
Hmm.
And it was like the coach, the assistant to the assistant, right? Like some random dude, right? So, so as he was getting loud, I said, hey, like, are you the head coach? And he goes, no. And I said, okay, well, since you're not the head coach, you say another word and you're gonna be in the parking lot. And then the head coach kind of looks at his eyes got big and he turned to his partner like, you need to go. You need to go. You need to go. And that quickly it was shut down and we finished our game, And I told him that you don't let anybody roll over you, like, period.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that's that training piece that we have to, we have to instill into our programs. It's not being difficult. It's, hey, head coach, if you have a question, come talk to us.
Hmm.
But your assistant and your clown posse, like, absolutely not. Like,
Yeah.
it'll just be you, me, and your play.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt,
Sorry. I was just going to say real quick, Evie, before you go, the best part I thought of the clinic that we did, and I think I already said this too, was that we got to have an actual game going on. And
Yeah.
I think that was the best part.
Yeah.
For me, anyways. I mean, doing the stations, hearing from everybody, and,
Yeah.
everybody at the station had something to say and, kind of hearing all that, but really having that live game. And again, like on Saturday, regardless of how it went down, I learned so much. And I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
And there was one point I think I was in B, And I moved the wrong way, and Noah came right in and grabbed me by the hips and was like moving me the other way. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go this way. Okay, but like how awesome to be doing a live game and somebody training you. It was sick. So I think that is absolutely part of it.
And Noah's fucking good. He's a pro.
Dude, I was,
so yeah, like
I
I'm
heard.
about what we can do with training in this area moving forward. Like after I'm like, yeah, like I think we're on to something. So we just got to keep the ball moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's really all I was kind of going to reiterate is the fact that as young umpires, as us, like I think one of the biggest things that we had to kind of learn is all of the like small innuendos, like you had mentioned, that we're kind of learning firsthand. Like, okay, all right, I can find a mentor to kind of talk to, and go through plays, but no one ever talks to you about positioning. No one ever talks to you about hand signals. We read the rule book, take a test, get patched. We're out there by ourselves for a year doing JV games, just trying to get by. So
Yeah.
it's not even like a year goes by before we get partnered up, and they're like, okay, what? But, okay, got to figure out all this. Like, I didn't know there were different pants to be on the bases and when I'm behind the plate. Like it's so many things, like you mentioned, from the very start, like what kind of mask, or you should wear your shoulder protector up here so you don't get one right here. You know, like tighten this up, buddy. You're gonna get killed. Or hey, why aren't you wearing good shin pads? Like. There's a lot, and I, like you mentioned, there's these clinics out there that in these camps, which obviously will help tremendously, and it'll help kind of weed out the guys that actually have the heart, have the passion, have the hustle, the determination, the want to get better. Because as we've shown that to a lot of guys that we've worked with, the desire is there to teach us, to learn. But like you said, like those opportunities to then take the time to learn, they're few and far between.
And I appreciate everything you just said too, because I think the other thing that we have to name is training and development. It's an investment. It's not cheap, and it doesn't have to be. I think there's ways in which we can economically make some very dynamic developmental experiences available for our local officials. Everyone doesn't, I need to travel to a certain place for a couple of days and do what I need to do. If that's inspiring to do, then let's have that conversation. But many of our officials, especially when we think about recruiting young, and local officials or newer officials, they're going to be folks who are established where they live, in their communities, so we got to figure out a way to, facilitate quality developmental experiences and experiences that won't break the bank, and so much happening in our area that we got to, capitalize on.
Do you know what? Do you know Bill McCallum?
Yeah.
You know Bill? So he does, what is that? Where is it, Dan? He does a program in the inner city and in like I want to say like Roxbury or Dorchester, but where he trains young umpires, where like he has this whole program through BPS, yeah, and he gets like kids and he trains them and they like do their first little league games and they're kids and so he has an awesome program. I think that honestly, I think that's a hell of a way to start with like the kids that I work with. I would love to be like, come on, bud, like come to a game with me. You could do this. You could do this on the weekends.
Yeah.
Earn some money.
Yeah.
I agree, Whitney.
Yeah. A program that was just implemented this year that was on the back burner for a couple of years when I was in Pennsylvania. I used to work at Diamond Nation, which is in New Jersey. Big, it's kind of a mega complex kind of situation. They implemented finally their intern program where, they would train high schoolers and college kids who came back for the summer to work the bases. And they would just work bases and they would make decent money. They're running around. and they loved it. And then some of them actually took the second course, which was to start the beginning, the process of working plates. And, talk about, not having to work at Wendy's for a summer, like
Right.
around and, make 60, 75 bucks, working bases with, a qualified umpire. So I think there's some measures out here that, and Bill McCollum, I mean, his name is, stamped. So like he knows his shit. Right. And, like we need those types of individuals creating programs or helping us think uniquely about programs, so that way we're creating opportunities. And there's plenty out there where we shouldn't have to tax people. Like we can do this. So
but there's also another catch to it. The three of us have kind of talked about it too, where as young umpires, it's really hard to then also get the feedback about how we're doing too. Then to kind of like, I know you're saying, hey, you'd love to come to one of our games, kind of watch us, but actually, like,
I believe he said that to me. I don't remember him offering that to you, Gibby, but I just,
for purposes of just saying, of what I'm trying to say.
Messing with you. Of course he'd come see you. Now I'm your agent, Curtis.
But actually getting someone to actually come down and look and do it, that's another entirely different issue. I know there have been talks with, the board about perhaps maybe getting some of the older, close to retired umpires who maybe are having trouble moving or whatever, to say, hey, why don't you go down to this high school game, evaluate these two guys for me, and we'll give you a half a fee or whatever. Or, I know they send umpires out there to do pitch tracker and whatever, like there's got to be at least more way to kind of get the umps that are motivated and want to learn the feedback they need to continue at least maybe figuring out whatever journey theirs is going to be, to figure out how they're going to get better, and then using that in whatever purpose they need to, right? Like there's got to be more we can do, right?
And to be honest, Gib, honestly, if somebody were to say, hey, Andrew, we're going to come evaluate you at like whatever high school, they can have my whole fee. I'm not saying that works for every umpire, right? Like I think some people, like I'm very privileged in that way, but I think that and it's, again, I don't think all umpires can do that, but I would gladly be like, take my fee for the game, come evaluate me, because I think it is that important to get better at your craft. And to your point, Gibby, we don't have that kind of, that bat phone that we can kind of just call and be like, hey, I'm going to be at Somerville High on X date, come see me,
Yeah. Or, I mean, like, I think there's ways for us to be creative about this. Like, if every year we're paying dues, right? Like we're paying fees to a local chapter, right? There should be an evaluation fee. Like, hey, like pay $1.50 every year, on top of your dues. So what, $175 or whatever it's going to be. Like, get that back in one weekend, right? Like, but at least now you get an evaluation, and it should be a thorough 2, 3, 4 pager, right?
Teachers get evaluated every year, right?
Absolutely. And officials get evaluated too. Like if you are progressing and you're looking to work at a higher level, there should be a quality evaluative process, right? So, and honestly, like there's the technology that's out there now. I mean, you can have your phone in your back pocket with some beats in your ear, and we can talk to you while you're on the field. Like, hey, why are you over there too close to first base? Move to the right. Like, we should be talking to you in real time. That way,
that'd be something.
See, the adjustments in real time, not after the game, right? We can, that's what we're doing now on our camps, What?
I got a two-part. Oh, sorry. I got a two-part question for you then. So when you were kind of coming up, right? Like, what were the hardest skills for you to master? And what skills are you working on now? Like, where are you now in your game? Like, what are the things that you're like, this is what I got to work on?
She's perfect, remember? We said it earlier.
I think, not to bail out on the question, but I think the hardest thing that was a challenge for me was timing.
Timing. I knew it.
But that's not bailing at all. That's legit. And especially as play gets faster and harder every level, like that's for real.
Yeah. But then the thing that I continue to work on, because, you know, I just find that it makes everything else make sense, is timing.
It's time.
You know? Like I
Fair.
feel like I'm at a place now where like I love my timing, but I'm not married. I'm not married to it yet, because I feel like I still tweak things. You know, I mean, you saw at Northeastern, like I love my timing behind the plate. Like I love it. Like I still feel like I can be better. For instance, you know, there's a couple pitches on the outside corner low that I think I could have been a slight bit slower on, and I probably would have had a different decision, right? So, you know, I felt good, even though it was my first plate in like 2 months, right?
Yeah,
But
I
like,
love that. I love
you
that.
know,
'Cause as new umpires, we're always in our head after the games of, oh, I
yeah,
wish
yeah,
I did that. And knowing someone with your experience still doing that and trying to get better, like that's
For
awesome.
sure.
absolutely. You know, so like, you know, I think timing to both of those questions, you know, like, sure, you know, like, you know, my footwork, you know, like, you know, pause, reading, and reacting, right? You know, for me, like I told you, like it's read, pause, and react for me, because from a timing mechanism, like I don't want to move until I now have a reason to move, right? So, you know, as a youngin, oh my goodness, I was everywhere because I was young, I was athletic. I'm like, yep, I'm not gonna beat me, youngins. But I was moving without a purpose, right? So now I'm having to move back into position versus like, right? So like all that stuff, you know, rule interpretation, like all those things. But like at the end of the day, it's timing, you know, like all of that stuff makes everything make sense, you know.
And to be fair, I mean, timing in umpiring, and I don't know about other sports, I don't officiate other sports, but timing in baseball can mean timing doing 150 different things, right? So timing, you know, calling balls and strikes, timing when you move away from, you know, the foul line when you're in A, right? Timing when you're running over to second. There was, you know, a really good piece of advice you gave me, is that, you know, if he hits a grounder, right, you know where it's going, just take 2 steps, right? But then if you see the ball go out, wait until you see the scoop and then get into position, because you have to keep your eye on the ball before you move. Don't anticipate the play, which, yes, why was I anticipating the play, right? But it's instinct as a former player, but it's also instinct as an umpire. I know where the play is going to go, but right, why am I going to do anything before that happens? So timing can mean a million different things. So I think that's absolutely fair. And I think it's nice to reiterate that timing is the thing that we all need to, I think, consistently. Maybe it's not our focus for the game. I always have a different focus every game. But it is something to always be cognizant that our timing is so important to the game and our skill production and our skill level increasing. So
Yes.
I think that's a perfect answer for both questions, actually.
Yeah.
Curtis, we've had some of our former guests kind of say that, you know, I'm curious what your answer to this question is going to be. Like, when did it kind of click? You know, when did you kind of feel like, all right, like, yeah, I like where my timing's at. You know, there's still things to work on, but when do you think that, because we've had a lot of kind of former guests say, you know, like the light bulb, one day it's just kind of gonna go off and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how long did that kind of take with you? Or maybe it hasn't yet.
I think it clicked when I moved to Virginia. You know, I had, you know, 6 seasons of working in the OAC and, you know, like all the kind of stuff. And I was still learning, you know, with a lot of really talented umpires, you know, giving me feedback and constructive criticism and things like that. I was thinking about ways in which my strike call was changing and positioning, and a lot of my timing was impacted by, the way I would engage the slot, how I was seeing pitches, all those type of things. So I was still trying to figure out a lot about my comfortability when I was setting up for pitches, like all of those type of things. So, I think those first 6 years, like were really experimental. And I was trying to get a feel of what was going to be the best way for me to work, So, I felt good, but I didn't. I knew I was still working on my craft, right? So, I think when I went down to Virginia, and I was working in a new environment with a new group of talented umpires, but also in a space where now I had to trust myself a little bit differently. I think that second year, and I remember I was working in the ODAT. And I remember, I think it was like Shenandoah, and that's down in, it was like Southern Virginia. I forgot the name of the school, but yeah, I remember, and I was working with a partner I didn't know. I just met him, and of course these two coaches are like, who's this dude? I remember, and I remember having a plate, and I just felt it just made sense. I mean, like, again, the ODAC is very similar to OAC, very similar to the NJAC, like nut cutter D3 baseball. I mean, these guys can hump, like they're doing their thing. And Emory and Henry, it was Shenandoah, Emory, Henry, and and I'm behind the plate and I'm balling pitches, like, and this is Division III, right? So they give a little bit on the outside corner. I'm balling pitches that are on the corner, right? Like, and they're clear balls, right? Like, but I mean, they're working for them pitches. So, I mean, they're sticking pitches and, and we're moving, I'm managing the game, and I remember the coach who I ironically, bump into every once in a while. He comes out like second inning or something like that. And he goes, I haven't seen you before. Who are you? And I'm like kind of shocked. I'm like, get kicked out of here because I hope I'm doing a good job. Like I didn't offend anybody, right? And he goes, no, like, you're really good. Like Greg hasn't sent you down here before. Like, are you new? I'm like, yeah, I just moved down here.
Isn't it nice to hear when you get those?
Yeah,
It's so rare. We're always hearing the opposite side.
yeah, right. And I'll say more about that in a second. But it was just one of those things where I was like, this is a guy who takes his team to the tournament every year. Shenandoah is a competitor every year. They're in an ODAC tournament, but then usually they're in, the D3, regionals, right? So, but here's a guy who's saying, like, you're calling a strike zone that I expect, my players expect, we know that, most umpires are probably going to call those balls strikes because we're presenting them and they're going to keep things moving, right? But no, like, you're making this a competitive game. You're making my catcher work. You're making my pitchers hit their spots. So, and I've never, that's when I was like, okay, I figured it out. Like,
I got something here.
right. And it was because, the work of me understanding what my slot was, how I was establishing the strike zone with every batter, like everyone, that box looks different for every batter, and we have to make sure that when they're stepping into that box that we're taking a glance at what that box needs to look like for that batter and knowing where your catcher is, establishing the slot and making sure that you're locking in, right? Like all of that is a product of timing, right? And I think that's when it made sense to me. And, and that's when it became fun, like I enjoyed it, but like now, like I love establishing my slot because now I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. Let's figure this out, and and that's when it started to really, really click. And I love it. It's just great. It's a great feeling.
It sounds like you prefer being behind the dish as opposed to on the bases.
Not necessarily.
No.
Not even. I think it's natural for us to prefer the bases because that's where we first understand officiating, umpiring. You know, we got to be behind the plate. We got to call balls and strikes. We got to be umpire in chief, right? You know, unfortunately, you know, as a young official, you're probably going to do it by yourself. You know, so you got to do it all, right? But you know, that's where you find the most comfort in when you start.
Well, Angie and I have talked about this. I'm a catcher. Angie was a catcher, so for us
Not
to
a catcher, right?
you were a catcher
Jimmy's
too,
not a
so
catcher.
Yeah.
Curtis, were you a catcher?
Oh, no shit.
so
Okay.
there it is.
So-
Yeah. So
I loved it.
Well, so I took one off the thigh the other day. A foul ball bounced, hit me off the thigh. And so one of the coaches made a joke. He's like, "Oh, get you in the balls," because it was like right in my ball bag. And I was like, "No, right in the catcher's thigh. I'm all good. Right in the catcher's thigh. Totally fine."
I caught too, and it's just one of those things where when it makes sense, it's just it's so like it's just like now for me, you know, that relationship with the catcher, because of my comfortability in the slot and seeing, you know, and in tracking pitches, like it makes tough pitching easy, you know, like a competitive easy, not like, oh, I'm
Yeah, totally got you. Yeah.
excited about competitive pitching because now you know exactly what you should be doing behind the plate. But like, I guess to the question,
and the catcher knows what he's going to get.
Oh my goodness, yeah. You know, so part of, you know, I think part of the training that I'm sure does not happen for you all is, you know, like when you're behind the plate, you know, we should be helping our officials understand, you know, how to establish the slot, you know, how to see through the strike zone, how to see the outside corner, but then also how to read your catcher so that way you can make your final adjustment before a pitch. You know, I led that in a training, you know, this spring, and I mean, even the travel team that was helping us that day, they were asking us questions. They were like, "Hey, like, so what did you mean by this?" You know, like, your catcher is going to give me all the information I need. Like, he's a smart dude. Like, he gave his signs to his pitcher. He said, "Hey, I want that curveball inside on the inside corner." I didn't know he called that, but he's going one last adjustment right when his pitcher gets set. And that's going to be, okay, now I need to slide inside and I need to lock in to see this pitch on the inside corner, right? Like, we have to use the tools that are given. That way we can see the pitch appropriately, right? So, like, you know, but, you know, to your question, that's now my approach at every position that I work, right? And that's why training is important, because I think that same way now when I'm working in the AF first base, or if I'm in the B or the C, right? Or 3-man, if I'm in D position, right? And I need to read my trigger guy, my A guy. I'm going through all of those scenarios, reading the cues from my players, and then, you know, truly reading the baseball and what might transpire, and then making my movements after that, right? Like, you know, all of that, you know, builds up, and we have to, you know, again, create environments where we can talk about that stuff. Otherwise, we'll be playing catch up in all of our contests, and that's not what we should be umpiring.
How hard was it to go from 2-man to 3-man? Was it like easier than I imagined? Because I think it'd be really difficult to kind of like relearn a game almost, or did it feel kind of like it made sense?
In year one, I didn't know what the hell. Like I remember my first game was at Ohio University, and I was bookended. So I always had two really good umpires with me because they knew that I was a rookie. So, and I kind of knew the mechanics because I tried to read the, you know, season, whatever, but but I didn't know what I was doing, you know. So so I tried to look the part. Like, I hustled, I got into positions, and, you know, I sold my calls like I was a servant. right?
It's 50%.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
Right, like, but you're learning on the fly. So, but I do think what helped me was I felt really, really good about my 2-man mechanics,
hmm
and knowing 2 sets the tone for 3, sets the tone for 4, sets the tone for 6, right? I think that you know everything that we do is for a reason. And the reason why we about timing and knowing the status of the baseball is that gives you the foundation for now adding another umpire to the system, right?
hmm
Because all play off of each other, right?
hmm
Man, I still play off of you when you make a decision on whether or not you got a trouble ball going out to right field, right? The same happens when I add a third person over in D. So if you got a trouble ball going into right field, guess who's going to make an adjustment to cover your base if you go out, right?
Right. Right.
So we all play off of each other, right? Little changes, but at the end of the day, we got to have each other's back. We got to know the status of the baseball. We got to know, like all of those things, right? So, so early on, challenge, but like once you start making sense of partnership and how you work with your team, it's a fun adjustment to make. Like I work in 3. It's great.
Yeah. Well, and working with people willing to teach you too, or answer questions, or because, and I mentioned this too, but sometimes you work with partners who don't really want to answer your questions, don't really want to give you feedback, which is, hey, whatever. You know what? I'm not here to tell you how to earn your money. But when you do work with people who are really willing to talk to you about it, it's so helpful. There was one point where, so I went out, out on, out to right. And so I started to come back in, and Curtis is like, go back out, like mid run. And I'm like, what? Where am I supposed to go? Right. But I've been doing 2-man now for this whole year, and I never knew that. So just working with somebody who knows this and can use the right wording and makes it make sense, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But I don't often work with guys, honestly, if I'm on the bases, who are going to run out.
Yeah.
And so that's never happened to me before. I've always just done everything out there, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to. So now I need to talk to a few people. I'm gonna have a conversation, But it was so helpful to just have you like talk me through that part and teach me that part. And I imagine, right, doing 3-man is somewhat similar in that you were getting feedback.
Yeah. Yes.
That was helping you adjust, and then you were adjusting as you did more 3-man games, and then 4 or 5, whatever. But it's the process, right? And
yeah. And it's just great to have a hub that's committed to your growth, and that's what I'm excited about being up here. And really seeing us kind of move in a direction where we're going to be really focused on development. Like it's about our group, when I started college, that first year, like I fell in love with my hub. Like it was just a great group of guys, assholes, but they were great. Like I I love them. I still in contact with a chunk of them to this day. And I remember, again, my schedule was like, it was still evolving. Like, I had a half a season turned into like damn near a full season. It's like 3/4, almost a full season. And like, I remember, I had early on, like I had a series at OU, right? Like it was my first series, first non-cons. But then like 2 weeks later, I had a non-con at Ohio State. And I'm like, this is an error, right? And they're like, no, you got a non-con here. So I'm at Bill Davis Stadium as a first-year umpire. Awesome. Working first base at Ohio. It was Cincinnati, Ohio State. I felt like I was going to shit my pants. I'm like,
literally.
And I remember going to the stadium, and I'm like, I can't fuck this up. I'm going to get fired. Like I'm just going to, and I walk into the locker room, and it's the entire, our entire hub was there. Like everybody was there, right? Like I mean, it was so supportive. Like it was just like
awesome.
And I mean, they were like, Curtis, how you doing? And I'm like,
and you're like, oh, it's gonna be a good game.
Like, don't y'all have games? Like, why are y'all here? But it was the best because like
they were there to watch you.
They wanted me to know that I wasn't gonna fail. That's
awesome.
Here for a reason. And
how can you not be romantic about baseball?
Oh goodness, yeah. And it was a great game, I had one call where the coach came out and it was overturned, right? And and I learned from it because, at the end of the game, I remember at the time, one of our minor leaguers, he was at the game and he goes, "Hey, do you want to see that play on replay?" And this is, when smartphones were starting to get smart, right? So he whipped out his phone and he literally blew up, this pulled foot that I initially got right, and we got together and overturned it. And of course, his foot is off the bag by like this much, and he goes, "Curtis, like, you're on this game because we trust you. Like, we trust your instincts. Go fucking work, don't question your instincts,
Mm-hmm.
After that, I was like, challenge accepted. Got you. Bet, and that's how I lean into it now. And that's the fun part. Like, teams, challenging each other. You got a third team challenging itself, right? So I learned from that, and that's how I lean into it now.
So
Yeah.
what's next for you? I mean, what is it your dream to work in the MLB or what's
No. That I wish, and this is why I'm so excited for the youngins that was at the clinic. For them going to the camp, going to school. I didn't know about going to pro school until I was 30. Like when I started college, I was turning 30. So after my successful, exhibition year as a college umpire, I have a second season that goes pretty well. And then I'm interested, and then I'm introduced to USA baseball, which, was really cool. And then invited to go to MLB camp in Compton. So by that time, I'm getting ready to turn 32. So I was way past the pro window. If someone would have told me coming out of grad school, hey, you need to get your ass to pro camp, I probably pro school, I would have gone, right? Because
we say that all the time. Like we had no idea this was like even something we wanted to do, and then we started doing it. And we were like, God damn it!
Yeah,
we wasted 20 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm very lucky. I'm very happy with the fact that I had those opportunities to do some training with some really great instructors, officials. Like USA baseball was with Charlie Rutherford, and like it was an MLB staff, and they were trying to recruit minority men to consider going to pro school. Now, granted, all of us were older and with careers and stuff, so I don't think any of us was going to go. But like, they wanted that experience, and we umpired the top 100 minority players in the country. So that was dope in itself, right?
Yeah.
But then to get invited to go to Compton, where again Charlie Rutherford and all of these umpires were there, like pro guys, I mean, it was nuts, and I think building that resume set me up to kind of do exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm happy where I'm at. I love the collegiate experience, but I also still enjoy now, being able to still contribute to the high school area when I can, because I think that still is important, and we need to make sure that we're grooming, of development at this. So I'm good. Plus, I like having a life. Like, hearing stories of the umpire, the pro guys. Granted, if I was 24, it probably would be a different story. But like hearing like the commitment that they make to do that work. Like, yes, they are the best in the world, but they sacrifice a lot. And so kudos.
The flights that they're on, and different cities.
Well, I think it's, when we talk about being a family person, like these are officials with families, partners, kids who are growing up, they're 9-10 months out of the year, right? So their rules are very tight. Yes, they do get vacation and things like that, but like it's a lot. So tip my hats off to them because, they're the best at what they do, but, it also takes a lot for them to be where they're at, including, having the full support of a family that's growing, so I don't think in retrospect, I would have been able to do that. And so, so I'm very happy with, the opportunities that I have and in being able to be flexible with what I do, knowing that, I also have an occupation I'm very committed to.
Have you done any Cape League games?
I did.
Oh, you did. Nice.
Yeah, I think I did like 5, I think this year. Yeah, it was good.
Fun. Yeah, it's good.
I don't have any more interest in going to Martha's Vineyard. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, having to take the ferry over and whatever. Nice field.
Yeah, the Vineyard's a pain in the ass, but
it's gorgeous. But like, I don't do water like that. So, and Chris is awesome. Like, he gave me a couple games and it's in my first season up here. So it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I don't need to take another ferry. I'm good.
So
super fun.
we got two more last questions for you. So we're almost at the 2-hour mark. We've taken a lot of your time. First one, where do you see the future of umpires? Obviously with all the technology and all the things that you hear with, we're going to be replaced with robots and all that. So what's your thoughts on all that?
We're not going anywhere. I think
I agree.
I think the future of umpiring is going to. I think this is a great opportunity for us to think about training and development even more. It's going to force us to be more intentional with how we train and develop our umpires. The magnifying glass is only going to get more finer. Like there's going to be more criticism about how we can be better, or or what we should be doing differently. And these are coming from critics who don't know anything about the game, and they're enjoying the game from their television or monitor.
Yeah.
So I think yes, there's probably going to be some changes or some adjustments. We're probably going to see more challenges or like things like that. I think we have to name that MLB is entertainment, right? Like it is an entertainment industry. So the umpires who work that, they're the best in the world at umpiring baseball, but they're also the best at maintaining the entertainment status of that contest. They are really, really good at what they do. But with that, I think they're the ones who are implementing new mechanics and approaches and things that trickle down to the collegiate, I'm hoping to the high school level. And we have to adopt those developmental traits in our games, so no, I don't think that robots will be replacing us. I do think, this is going to force us to focus on getting the basic things right and mastered. We talked about a lot of that tonight. We got to be better at balls and strikes. We have to. We got to stop calling the ball that it's on the outside corner of the white line, right? And we can't call it anymore. We gotta start, really thinking about and understanding that if we got a U11 game, go ahead and get call the river, right? But let's not call it because again, even at
Angel Hernandez.
Even at a U11 game, somebody's going to have a camera, and the one thing you don't want to be is on John Boy or something like that because you called a strike.
Trying to get him on the podcast. That would be awesome.
On the white line, right? Like we gotta work on being better at the basics.
Maintaining integrity.
Yeah. Like
consistency.
Yeah. Well, Well, you can be consistent calling the white line, right?
Yeah. Okay. I take that back. Yeah. But if you do go do a U11 game, right, and you do have a little bit of a bigger zone, you better keep that zone consistent. You better pick a spot in this, in the dirt or on the, wherever your spot is, you better pick it. You got to stick to it. And if the ball goes outside of that, it's a ball, right? But you do have to, when you're doing, when you younger games, but yeah.
Yeah. Because, we're talking about technology and how it's going to impact the game, I've gotten to a point where if I'm working a travel U11, U12 game, I'm going to make them work. So I don't call the pitch that is down, but it crossed the plate. It's a ball, right? And as soon as the coaches recognize that, now they change. They have to adjust, right? So when we talk about, what the camera is telling us, right? Like, if we take the opportunity to adjust what we would normally do versus what we should be doing, the game will adjust itself. That catcher is going to be like, okay, I'm going to get yelled at again because I keep letting that pitch fall to the dirt and he's calling the ball. So now I'm going to go ahead and do what I've been practicing all year, and I'm going to present that pitch, and I'm going to make sure that this umpire sees me stick this, like, give him an opportunity to perform, right? Because the camera is going to show that as we see those playbacks, whether it's a U11 game or it's a U18 game or whatever it is, right? Like, I think we're going to be pushed to think about performing and really being true to, having good timing and seeing plays to complete. We can't be pop up safe and know he's actually out. Like, we have to be, sound with our mechanics. We got to understand rule, like all that stuff, So I think technology. I think technology is also going to be a friend of ours, right? I'm hoping that the clock comes down to high school. Like, I hope that we implement a level. I hope that we, start to limit trips at the high school level. Yeah. Like, I think doing we gotta regulate this stuff,
That'll help speed it up.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta make sure that, folks see us, managing dugouts and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff is on camera now, right? Like,
Curtis, why do you think the high school level is so slow to adapt to some of these changes? I mean, technology-wise, you kind of understand, like it's hard to get a pitch clock down in some of these fields or whatever. But some of the other ones, like you just said, like they could have made some of these changes a while ago. But a lot of states, especially ours, real hesitant to some changes.
Yeah. I think, I think there is a developmental space there, that we're wanting to try and protect, right? So at school level, there is still an interest in keeping a wider space for participation, right? So that's why in high school you can bat like 18 people, they want to like, and I'm being facetious with 18, but like you can bat a lot of folks, right?
Yeah.
I hate keeping lineups in high school. I'm just like, listen, y'all know what y'all doing, right? Like,
yeah.
EH and the EEA. I'm like, what are we doing here? But like, but I think from a participation lens, like there is still a strong leniency to ensuring that we allow for as many players, right? I think that's there. I think there's still a lot of players that are learning how to play the game, right? So I think there is kind of space for the growth and development piece. But to that point, I think that doesn't mean that we can't apply mechanics that that forces players to adjust, right? I think a big when you get to that junior senior year and you're playing a really quality high school varsity team, they know what they're doing. Like there's no question that if you gave them 90 seconds to warm up, between innings, that they don't know what they're doing, right? Like they're coming out there, the catcher's ready to go, they're gonna get their five, toss it down, like there's no reason for us to not be able to do some of those things at the high school level. Like, I think between batters, like if there's a strikeout, they're throwing it around, like get that clock going. Let's go. that batter should be ready. They should be hustling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think that was one of my biggest frustrations working a little bit of high school this year. Like, you know, they would walk and they'd be, you know, like taking the, like I was very like, get in the box. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I got time. No, you don't. Get in the box. You know, and
check their wrists for the signs, and it's like, oh my gosh.
they made their adjustments. You know, like they want to call time as a pitcher starts. Nope. Like,
yeah, right.
I called time. I didn't. You know, like no, like, you know. And so I think there's spaces for us to implement some things to change the mindset of how players may have played when they were on their travel or little league teams, like the gamesmen. You know, a lot of that stuff is being eliminated at the pro and collegiate level. It should be eliminated. Like we should process of eliminating it from high school level. You know, I think it hinders growth. And for those who want to be competitive and transition to the collegiate level, that's going to be a major challenge for them, you know, to get rid of, you know?
Yeah. There's a catch-22 with that, you know, like MLB has that, you know, let the kids play and the bat flips and stuff. But, you know, I'm seeing that, you know, the interest in particularly baseball. I don't know about, you know, high school sports in general, but that interest is so much lower nowadays than when, at least when I was in high school. You know, there was 15, 16 guys on our varsity high school team. Like, there might be just a few teams like that in BPS that are like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's different, you know, and the Catholic conference and stuff like that, the better ones. But I mean, for the most part, you know, like you said, like, I think schools are really sensitive about making sure that they have the numbers to maintain these programs, you know, so that's tough, you know, like, because I get it. MLB has to, you know, keep that entertainment up, you know, so.
But if you look at the competitive high schools, right, the Catholic conference, like all, you know, when you in the private schools, when you look at the competitive programs for baseball, you do see, I think, what Curtis is talking about. But working in public schools,
Gibby,
right,
you know?
no, 100%. Well, and they have the equipment, and they have the training space, and they have the time, and so it's they get to do this. They have the money and the sweatshirts and the jackets and the jerseys and the this and the that, right? And meanwhile, people are donating to some schools around me, right? But so I get it, and I agree with you. I think that we have to level that playing field somehow. But then again, I think baseball is losing. We talk about this all the time. The kids don't play pickup ball anymore. You know, you don't drive and just see kids playing with, you know, a stick ball bat and a tennis ball anymore. They just don't. Everything's so scheduled, and that love of baseball, I don't think, is what it was. And I think that translates to the field because you have naturally born athletes who go to school. They find out, shit, I'm good at baseball. I like baseball. I'm going to do baseball. And they're great. And they go. But I've seen the love, the actual love of the game dwindle a little bit. You know, you still have the kids who get into it and they love it, but it's not there as much as it was like when we were kids and we just had fun. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the fun for me. I don't see as much anymore. It makes me sad, but that's a story for another time. Whatever. It's 10 o'clock at night. It's a Monday. What the hell are we doing?
Serious.
Right. Yeah, it's Monday. Our usual Sunday show.
Yeah.
So last question, Curtis. What advice would you give someone who's thinking about becoming an umpire? Don't do it.
No, that's
Come on.
I would tell them to go watch somebody work, you know, and you know, not to say that they've never watched somebody work, but like go to a game, you know, introduce yourself to the umpire, and watch the game, watch the umpires work, and just write down a list of questions that you have. It could be like, there's no dumb question. You know, what size, you know, leg shin guards do you wear? You know, like, or you know, like, why did you decide, you know, hammer, punch, strike versus sides? Like, whatever question, like, just jot down all the questions you have. How much money you make, like, whatever it is, right? And like, just enjoy the conversation with that umpire, and then make a decision on whether or not you want to make that investment, you know, because, you know, it's, yes, there's a financial investment, but that pays itself off tenfold if you fully invest into learning to umpire, right? Um, and you got to start to identify the joy in it well before you find it. Like
Yeah.
I think
100.
the thing that has kept me doing this is I found the joy in the relationships early on. And I pride myself in maintaining those relationships. The game has paid me back. The art of officiating, the like that has taken care of me in so many ways because of
That should be a book title.
the what should be the title?
The art of officiating should be a book title.
Well, that's not a book for me to write. That's for somebody else.
Well, when you're done with your 7,000-page dissertation, just write a book.
Yeah, maybe 7.
Yeah.
Like just finding the joy and the patient. Like if you can find that path for that joy early on, that's what I would tell somebody, because it's gonna be hard. You're gonna get frustrated. Like you're gonna get yelled at, like all that stuff. But like you see through all that bullshit and find.
Yeah.
That's most jobs.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I think the most surprising thing is you never watch a baseball game the same ever again. In 2 years, I have not watched a game the same ever. Yep. I'm watching the umpires the whole time. I'm watching their mechanics. I'm watching what they're doing.
It's funny because I'll go to like a work conference and we'll have like a social outing at a baseball game or something like that. And everyone will sit next to me because like I'm talking about like the umpires and like, we never thought of that. We never seen that. I'm like, yeah, because we always are watching the players. We don't look at and their mechanics and what's going on. Like it's awesome to witness.
It's a second game.
Yes.
It's like in The Office when Pam lets the ice melt and she's like, it's second drink. It's second game. Reference. Like I love The Office. I can't help myself, but it is, right? Like it's a whole nother game. It's a whole nother side to this game that I've loved my whole life. And so.
Absolutely.
And then you get to like watch it again like a new fan. I've only had 1 season, 2 seasons now as an umpire. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's where you find new ways of doing things, like different mechanics, I like that side, punch that they do, like whatever it is. Like, yeah, it's so fascinating because they're the trendsetters. They're the ones who are doing the new advanced this or mechanic this or So yeah.
Curtis, thank you so much for your time. Angie spoke very highly of you. She came running back from the training. She's like, we got to have this guy Curtis on. He's awesome.
And for good reason.
Yeah, you lived up to the hype. So,
hey, thank you. Thanks for the invite, and hope we can do this again. Great work,
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Feel free to come watch any of our games. Let us know.
I will definitely send you my schedule, which is nothing right now, but I will send you something.
Yeah. Well, like I said, ask for what you want, right? And don't settle. So
I sent a text message right after I talked to you, so we will see.
Good
stuff. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on, Curtis. Thank you for all of your time. Have a great night.
Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Good night.
Bye.
Good
Episode 20, dudes.
Yeah, 20.
So good, right? Isn't he awesome?
He's awesome.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He was so good. It's so knowledgeable, so well spoken, just so eloquent. Like I could listen to him talk about umpiring for days, honestly. Like I could have just taken a clinic with him.
It's no shock to see the journey that he's been on and why, like as we've heard from other people, like sometimes it takes a little bit of luck being at the right place at the right time. But, like if you had the passion, the heart, the hustle, the commitment to want to get better, there's a place for you in this game.
Yeah, but like key word though, passion. Because you can ump for 20 years, but I'm sorry, Curtis has passion for this game, and you can the way that he speaks about it, the way that he was teaching in the clinic, like so I'm so glad he was able to come. Yeah.
for
Oh.
wanting to help make other people better, that's
Mm-hmm.
infectious. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what's
Yeah.
going to
Oh,
help us make us better.
yes.
Yeah.
And how serious he takes it. Do you
As
know,
he
like we've worked,
should.
but no, but you know, but we've worked with guys before who's like, I would, you know, they're 12, whatever, like they'll be fine.
All
Like, yeah,
right.
you know, but
Yeah.
This is a guy
he was,
who's
yeah,
serious.
I mean, it's stud, right? Like
Dude,
stud.
he's jacked.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, legit, dude.
Yeah.
Like
It's an awesome
I
picture.
wasn't gonna ask him if he was a catcher, but I took one look and I was like, you were definitely
Yeah.
a catcher. Like,
I mean, it made sense. It made perfect
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. But yeah. I
Yeah.
hope you guys get to meet him in person and maybe do a clinic or a training with him. But
All catchers are just jacked, aren't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
tell
Well,
me
they know, but
about it.
it's the
Huh?
thighs though. It's the quads. I told you when I met Zach and I told him, look, usually I'm into catchers, and he was
Yeah.
like, well, what about a center fielder? And I was like, what about a
Sorry,
catcher?
Ange, you missed
What
your
about a
chance.
shortstop?
I
Come
know.
on.
I know. It's the Jason Varitek meaty
Oh
juicy
yeah,
thighs,
his
man.
size ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous.
That was
Yeah.
but
You don't like scrawny
yeah.
fucks? What?
Listen, I have big catcher thighs, okay? I can't I need big catcher thighs for my big catcher thighs.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Alina complains I don't have big catcher thighs too. So
Oh, guys, yeah, no, but honestly, if Curtis is teaching again or training again, like I'd go see him, go watch him. Just amazing.
And Bill
Learn
McCollum,
so
I
much.
sent you guys. He
Oh
invited
yeah,
us
let's do that tomorrow night if we
yeah,
can.
tomorrow.
why not?
Wednesday night.
Oh shit, yeah, tomorrow,
I got the
Wednesday.
finals tomorrow.
Tuesday's tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, that's
Game
right. Where?
one.
Oh,
Let's go.
in Saugus though. I can't. I
Yeah,
thought
so
I was hoping it was going to be
I
in
think
Trump.
Terrio and maybe Gibb are gonna do the live stream.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, first time in like 20 years. I'm not able to do the live stream. It never happens.
Because you're going to be in it to win it, son.
In it to win it.
In it
Yeah.
to win it.
But Ange, I know you got something quick for your segment, right?
Dan, I think you just need to post the picture. It speaks for itself.
Well,
I don't think I need to say
right after
anything,
we
but
do this.
yes.
Hit it.
Fine.
Oh, so you want me to post the picture?
Yeah, so guys, I have no words. This is it. This is the picture. These are the stats. Say what you want about my girl, but she killed it. Killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
Oh, no, Dan, that's the wrong one. Shit, did I send you the wrong one? That was from August. Oh, God damn it.
I thought it was the wrong one
August
because the one recently she
24th.
missed like only 5 pitches, right?
She missed 5. Okay, so sorry. That was that was her first game. I sent Dan the wrong thing. It's too late. We're not gonna call it. But yeah, y'all, she missed.
You
She
can
missed
look it up on Google.
5. Yeah, I'll post it later. She missed 5 pitches.
5 pitches.
My girl
Yeah.
called an amazing game, 97% accuracy. She missed 5 pitches.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
suck
There you
it.
go.
Suck it.
Suck it.
Gotta have
Another
the
office
opportunities to
another
learn.
office reference if you know the office. Suck it. But yes, Gibby, yes. Right?
Gotta have the
Everybody
opportunity
needs
to learn.
the opportunity to learn.
Back
And to
off.
be honest with you, after Saturday, everybody needs the opportunity to fuck up hard
Yeah.
and get back up again. That was
Well,
the
I'm
hardest
glad
thing, was to get back up again.
You turned
I
that
hear-
frown upside
I
down
hear you.
because you were quite
I
Scrimmages,
did-
upset.
though, the best.
Saturday.
The
I was
best way to
so
learn.
upset.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I felt so
I
bad.
was No, I mean, but you know what though? I think we all go through our process. I'm emotional when I get, disappointed on myself. I don't
No,
cry.
I do too.
unless I feel like, right, like there are certain things. I'm not like a crier, though. I don't cry at movies, like whatever. But when I'm disappointed in myself and like, because I'm a perfectionist in my life and I'm really good at I'm really good at a lot of things that I do. And this has been the hardest thing that I just wasn't naturally good at. But I'm not good at a lot of things, so I don't do them. Do you know what I mean? I just don't do them. And that's fine. Like I can't golf. I don't golf. I can't play tennis. I don't play tennis, right? I don't do the things I can't do, but
Sure.
I love baseball.
Maybe you'd be great at tennis.
Yeah, who knows? But I don't play because, but I loved baseball. And so when we decided to get into umpiring, I'm like, of course, like this is going to be awesome. And I loved it, but it didn't love me. And I've had to get better and I've had to get better and I've had to get better. And so feeling really solid in my skill at the level that I've been at and then doing that was so hard.
Yeah.
But I texted you guys, and Gibby, you were amazing. Dan, I didn't really like you last night, but that's okay. I love you now, and it's fine. Um,
Yeah.
But
But it's the same thing Curtis said. Confidence. It was the same thing
yeah,
that he said.
yeah. But here's the thing, and granted, it's 10-18. I've been working on my confidence, and so my
Yeah.
confidence has been up. So I went into that game feeling really confident,
Right.
and then it got
And then
shot
get
the
shot
fuck
down.
down.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so
It's gonna
hard,
take
because
a
I
minute.
went into it feeling really good,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have said yes to do that if I wasn't confident. I'd been like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Curtis? I can't do a D1 game. No, I'm all set. But I was feeling really confident, and oh man,
I hear
shot
you, but
down.
like Curtis said too, like like he made a big jump too, and like he said too, like what was I gonna do? Not say yes? Like yeah, of course you were gonna
Yeah,
take the opportunities that
yeah.
you get, but like I said
Hmm.
to you, Ange, those are the perfect times to learn to. Oh wow, you want me to do a scrimmage that means nothing? That the kid, yeah, they're just
Uh-huh.
going out there getting work. Yeah, hell
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
sign me
you go
up.
to all these trainings. I
But
gotta
I
give you
hear ya. It
credit for all
takes a
that.
minute to kind of get up off the mat again. Yeah,
Hmm.
don't be
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
hard on yourself.
yeah, yeah. No,
You're a
yeah.
beast.
There you go. I actually love that. But yes, I thank you. And yes, everything you
So,
said. I had to
Ange,
get back up.
next week, do we have the ladies coming on? Did you confirm that?
So I have to, so I've definitely got a confirmation from 3 of them, because there's 5.
I mean, we don't
Um,
need to have all of them, but
Yeah,
well, I think
freaking.
that they want to come on as a crew though, so I have to
oh,
figure that part out, because
oh, okay,
which I think, I respect that. So we just need to kind of figure that piece out.
Yeah,
I will definitely find out by I'd say Wednesday. So today's Tuesday. I'll definitely find out by Wednesday.
all
And
right,
just get like a for sure kind of thing. But that'll be great. Because one I told you, one's in Taiwan. I think another one was somewhere else. So we just got to make sure it works. But if not, we'll
right,
get as many as we can, and we'll go from there. And I think that's going to be fantastic, because they're seeing real ball right now, right? They're seeing real ball. And I
yep,
think to hear from them would be really crazy. So,
yeah.
cool, cool. All right, well,
all right, guys,
yeah,
it's
sorry
been
we weren't
real.
on last night, but
Yeah.
we had a
But
good
here we were
game.
tonight,
Here we were,
episode 20.
episode 20 in the books.
Nice short
My
episode. Thanks.
Yeah, nice short episode.
I'm with you, Gibby. I got to wake up early in the morning. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think I say it every episode, right? It was my favorite. This one was great.
yeah, good stuff.
Great.
And
Yeah.
good
All
guess.
right.
Nice job, Ange.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do my best. Yeah.
All right, guys.
All
Happy
right.
Monday.
Love you guys. All
Thanks for
Happy
right.
tuning
Happy
Monday,
in.
Monday.
guys.
Make
See you
sure
next week.
you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. Thanks, guys.
Do it.
Have a good night.